When would you experience Australian slang? Email, phone call, messages. We abbreviate a lot of things. Ugg is like Ugg boots. Uni, university. Unit, flat, apartment, condo. Up yourself. You're up yourself. Means you're arrogant. Right? They're up themselves. Dennis is up himself.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because he thinks he's great. Ute is like a pickup truck. Veggies, vegetables. A V-dub is a Volkswagen car. And like you may say a lot of these things, you may not, but veg out is like relax. I'm going to veg out on the couch.
And watch Netflix.
You know, Netflix and chill. Veggie, vegetarian, it's so true. Vinnies, so St. Vincent de Paul's is a charity in Australia, and we call it Vinnies, but it's St. Vincent de Paul's. The Wagger is the Western Australian cricket ground. So for those in Perth, one of the main cricket grounds over there, cricket is a sport. It's called the Wagger. It's a cricket ground. Everyone in Australia knows about it. Wag in school, so if you wag school, it means you're like skipping school. Walkabout, it is normally like a term that Aborigines would go on a walkabout when they're young to kind of transition from kid to adulthood. But also, you know, I would say someone's gone walkabout, AWOL, missing. Weekend warrior, like an army reservist, also like an internet warrior, those people that hide behind the screens and go, you're a mean person, but to your face they're like, I love you so much. Whacker, idiot, I don't know, that's whinge. So someone's having a whinge, they're complaining about something, okay? Whinging pom. Yeah, well that's true, like the British whinge about everything, so we'd call them a whinging pom. White pointers, well they're saying it's a topless sunbather, but a white pointer is like a great white shark.
Shark, yeah.
So a white ant, which is crazy. Wobbly is like, well, you know, they're wobbly, it's excitable behaviour. Also, having a wobbly, they're all animated and they're cracking the shits, which is another Australian thing, cracking the shits. Wobbly boot on, he's got the wobbly boot on, drunk, that's new. If they're drunk, they're smashed. So I said to someone, they're smashed, they're drunk. The actual term wog means Western Oriental gentleman, right? It's a negative connotation in some places in Australia, call someone a wog. In Australia, we kind of, that goes towards someone from like Europe, so like Italy, Turkey, Spain.
So as
France.
I grew up, I was called a wog from the Aussie kids, the people born in the country. So I was classed as a wog because I was a foreigner.
Yeah, and like in Australia, like we will call people from like, you know, the Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, like Asian, like that's from the Asian area, China, like it's like an Asian bracket. Australia is like Australasia. India is like India in general, then you've got Europe, and then you have America. In Europe, Asia is India, right? And Asia is the Orient, basically, for people in the UK. So it's different too. So if we're speaking to people in the UK and they say they're from Asia, they're typically meaning they're from India, right? But if we're in Australia and we say they're from Asia, wombat, somebody who eats roots and leaves. A wombat is a real aggressive.
It's an animal.
A wombat is a little thing like this, and real stumpy, like a koala, but like walks on the ground. Yeah. And if you annoy it, it expands like 3 times the size, and then it charges
you.
So for those in Queensland, 4X is a beer. Okay, it's also because you can't print the word shit on a beer can. So
it's the most drunk alcohol in Australia.
Yeah, people go yeah, like in different areas, like Queensland and that they'll say yeah sometimes, which means you. Yabba, again more Queensland. Someone's they're yabbering on. A yabby is like a little like crayfish, small one. Yakka, work, so hard yakka. So they're doing hard yakka. Hard work. Yeah. They're doing hard work. Yui, which means you're driving and then you just chuck a yui. A yobbo. So a yobbo is like a bogan. A yobbo is someone.
Darren.
A yobbo could be someone who's affluent and wealthy, but you know they might be drinking a 4X. Use. Some people have really poor grammar in English, and they'll say use instead of you, or you too. A coldie is a beer. Someone says, you said, how's your weekend? Oh, not bad. Had a coldie. Sat on the couch, vegged out, had a beer. Ace means amazing. Aerial ping pong, or Aussie rules footy, but I think people that follow rugby would call it aerial ping pong.
Yeah.
Amber fluid, beer, irrelevant, and ambo. So if someone says, like on their job description, they're an ambo, they're an ambulance driver or they're an ambulance operator, but they may say ambo. Ankle biter, like a small kid, he's got 3 ankle biters. She'll be apples, she'll be right. Arvo, which is like just afternoon. So we'll do that in the Arvo. Later on, there's Arvo. Aussie, Australian. You got avos for avocado. Bail. Bail is one, it's like, they bailed. Have you seen them? They're bailed. To bail somebody up. It's like, oh, Dennis is bailing Darren up.
Yeah.
Bail out is like, you're gonna bail him out. So let's say he's being bailed up by Darren. Someone may say, you're gonna go bail him out.
You better go help him.
Which is like help.
Yeah.
A bailout. I mean, we hear that like financial bailouts around the world, but it's really just like, go and help them, get them out. Banana bender, a person from Queensland.
That's where I'm a banana bender now because I live there.
Because bananas come from Queensland.
Predominantly grown there.
Yeah. And then they had people in Queensland, so when the bananas come off straight off the tree, that they come straight, and there are people there that actually bend them.
Australia is the first country in the world that developed the straight banana. And okay, but the reason why they did it is for the packaging. Because the bananas, when they're hanging, they naturally bend because of the weight of them, right? Yeah. What happens when you put bananas in boxes, they bruise because of the travel. Because remember the map of Australia? Bananas are travelling from here and they go all over Australia. So the skin gets black. So they develop the straight banana. So the bend is only on the curve now. So when it sits in the box, the bottom of the banana is flat on the box. So that's how they do it. So we do have a straight banana. Yeah.
Barbie, barbecue. Right, so a lot of us have, Barbie.
It's not Ken and Barbie.
Not Ken and Barbie. Barrack, which is like support. In America, they say rooting. Bastard. Got like term of endearment. It's like, he's a bastard. A bastard really is like the child of an unwedded parents.
Yeah. But it could also mean, we have a few drinks that night. I had 10 and I was still fine. He had 5. He got drunk and couldn't wake up. He might go, oh, you bastard. But he's actually saying, good on you, buddy.
Yeah. But don't say this on the phone, right? Don't go, oh, you bastard. You bastard.
Had a big weekend. It was really good and I didn't get drunk. Oh, you bastard.
We got bathers, togs, speedos, which are like swimming clothes. Battler. So the great Aussie battler, someone that slogs through life. They go in hard, they do the hard yakka and they, make ends meet, which is another term. Beauty, which is, it's like fantastic. That's a beauty. You could say like he or she's a beauty, which means like you're thinking like they're beautiful, or that's a beauty. That means it's great. Bicky, it's like biscuit, but our biscuits are like the Tim Tams are a biscuit. A Clicks cracker is a biscuit. We kind of call a biscuit is
Whereas you guys, it's cookies, right? Everything's like it's a cookie.
And then in the UK, a biscuit is bread, like a bit of bread. So let's say, can I get a biscuit with my roast? We would think, really, you're on Tim Tam with your roast?
And you guys complain about our Vegemite?
Big Smoke is city. Like Big Smoke is like, I guess the same in a lot of countries too. A bicky, a biscuit. Billabong is a surfing brand, but it's also like a pool of water. Billy, like a teapot if you're out doing camping. Bingle is if you get into an accident. So what happened to your car? Had a bingle, had a crash. Biteies, like mozzies. So mosquitoes are mozzies. You probably say the same thing here anyway. So we've got bloke, which is like a guy. Bloody oath. So we would use, bloody hell, bloody oath. It is mildly aggressive. But it's an expression. Oh, bloody hell, why are you asking me for this now? You could have asked me this like last week. It
could also be you've said something like, wow, I did this on the weekend. Bloody hell, that's awesome.
Like bludger, which is someone who like just lazes around and does nothing. So a dole bludger, someone that collects government entitlements and just does nothing. Blue is like having a fight with someone. So I'm having a blue with him. It means we're having an argument, a disagreement. Bodgy and dodgy is
similar.
Like it's something crap. Like you might get a glass and it doesn't like attach at the stem. You call it that's a dodgy glass. Bogged, so someone's bogged down. They could be bogged down in work. The car could be bogged in mud. Boomer, or a big kangaroo. Booze bus. Booze bus, like we have booze buses around all the streets. They kind of randomly pull you over and breath test you for alcohol and drugs. Bottle shop, bottle-o is like a liquor shop for us. So if someone's going to buy a bottle of wine or something, you go to a bottle shop or a drive-through. Bowl of rice, not my cup of tea. That's more Cockney slang. Brick shithouse. So someone said they built like a brick shithouse, means they're big. They're tough, they're strong. Bris Vegas, capital of Brisbane, Brizzy.
Well, bricky's a good one because that's actually, I'm a brickie, that's actually a job.
Yeah, they can be on a job description
Yeah,
too.
they're a bricklayer building houses.
Budgie smugglers is another term for the Speedo costume. A bull bar, so depending on whereabouts you live in Australia, you'd have a bull bar in the car because when you're driving along the road, it might hit kangaroos and things like that, so you need a bull bar.
Yep.
Bundy, so dealing with Queensland, where Bundaberg Run comes from, and also living in Bundy. People would say, I don't live in Bundaberg, that's I live in Bundy. Bush telly, campfire, so true. Bush ranger is an outlaw. Butcher, so a butcher like everywhere, you go and buy your meat. BYO, bring your own. We don't need to talk about cane toad. Cane toad is a pest. It was introduced by the British to eradicate some insects, and it ended up eating all of the sugar cane.
And they still are a pest now. They can't control them properly.
Chock-a-block, full. That's chockers.
I ate too much breakfast. I'm chock-a-block.
Yeah. Or a venue, like it's just full of people. Chock-a-block, you're not going to get in. Chuck a sickie. Then he's chucked a sickie, which means he's taken a day off sick. Chunder, vomit. So true. He's had a chunder. He's had a chunder in the bush. Click, kilometre. So, 30 clicks that way. I would normally just say kilometre anyway. Cobber, friend, cocky. If someone's cocky, like they're arrogant, he's cocky. Cream. Cream is like the definition of margin. So cream on top. How much cream on top is there? It's not how much cream you have on your coffee. It's how much cream on top of the deal is there. Croweater is someone from South Australia. Cut lunch, sandwiches. Also, cutting lunch is a term in Australia used if someone's cutting in on someone's business, or if someone's trying to meet someone for the first time. Dentist comes in and starts talking to them. So he's cut their lunch. Dag, funny person. So he's a dag, funny person. Also, a dag is a sheep in New Zealand. So if you were to say in Australia, oh, they're a dag, it's like they're kind of funny. They're odd. But in New Zealand, say, oh, they're a dag, it's like they're a sheep. Devo, devastated. People say, how are you feeling? Devo, mate. Feel like shit. Digger is a soldier. Dob, when you're dobbing on someone. Tattletale.
Dib dobber.
A docket is a receipt. Can I grab the docket? Do you want your docket? Dog's eye, meat pie. There's a lot of Cockney slang in there. So drop kick is like
an idiot.
An idiot. Feral. Feral is used for a number of people, from like bogans, people that have just gone crazy. That person's gone feral. They've gone wild. I'm flat out. Really busy. How you going? Flat out. Look, we're flat out at the moment. Do you mind calling back? And it's really, really common. Really Freo. So Freo is Fremantle. So when we're dealing with Western Australia and people say, we say where you live, it's like Freo. Or if they put down Freo, it's Fremantle. Greenie, environmentalist. Grog is alcohol. Kindy, well, it's more kinder. It's not kindy, it's kinder. So if the kids are going to kindergarten, it's kinder. Knock is to criticise. It's also knock, so knock on the door. But if you were to knock someone, if I bumped into him, I've knocked him. Or if I've teased him, I've also knocked him. Mickey Mouse means really good. So that's Mickey
Happy.
Mouse. They were Mickey Mouse. Mongrel, they're a mongrel. Sometimes it means a crossbreed of animal, but he's a mongrel. Yeah. That person's a mongrel. Nutty, so people do a nutty run, they're naked. They're in the nud. Pash is like when you're kissing someone and they're having a pash. A pav is a pavlova. Pavlova is a great cake if you haven't had one. It's like made from egg whites and some sugar. Piss up. So piss up is like you go to a party, you have a piss up. You get drunk. Porky means, it doesn't mean like a pig. They're telling a porky. Right?
They're telling
Porky's
a
like
lie.
a lie. Rack off is like, go away. And people would use it. Ripper means like, great, fantastic. You little ripper, you little ripper, you little beauty, you beauty. Shoot through is another thing that you'll probably hear, like we're doing references, how were they? Oh, they shot through, which means they disappeared. They've gone AWOL. Shout. Shout is normally used to, it's your shout. So who's buying drinks? It's your shout. It's your shout for dinner, it's your shout. Show pony, someone who thinks they're pretty good and like that, someone driving around with a Lamborghini thinking they're really great. Spewing, angry, oh, spewing, missed out on that property. Spit the dummy. So if you get upset, oh, they spat the dummy. Spruiker, which is also a employment definition to a spruiker. Spruiker is someone like stands on the street saying, come in and try this, you got to come in, $3 off, blah, blah, blah. Sprung is when you catch someone doing something. Struth is also used sometimes. Struth is like, struth, flaming hell, bloody hell, struth. Tall poppies, successful people. Tall poppy syndrome, the tendency to criticise people. Thongs, flip-flops. Tucker is food. Again, it's used like in more country areas, Queensland areas. So I guess the reason like why we were kind of covering news, we're covering like, you know, where Australia is, what Australia has in there, some of these words too, because we're basically on the phone. We don't want you to sound Australian. If it means that, you know, an accent that comes to us is a little bit too American, or, you know, where the words are American and like the spelling is American, don't be writing emails with American spelling. It's all got to be Australian spelling.